Hey guys, I want to make a little video here talking about Zippos and knives together. Now, I've always had a passion for knives, but very early on, not far after I got into knives, I actually got into Zippos. And I think they're both fantastic hobbies. They're both, really, really good thing to be into. Zippos tend to be a little bit cheaper to collect. If you're into collecting on a budget, the average Zippo is between $20 and $30. You can get them a little cheaper. Of course, they can be a little more expensive. Knives tend to get in higher price ranges, so it's not as of an affordable hobby. However, you can still stick with some cheaper knives, but generally, once you get into knives, you progress and you start looking at more expensive knives, and it just gets out of hand. And all of a sudden you're buying $200-300 knives when you can't really afford it. But the thing with Zippos is that no matter how cool of a model you want, they don't get too expensive. Now you can get very collectible, very expensive Zippos out there. Just give you a couple examples: the World War II Black Crackle Zippo, even real used and beat up, they get about $200-300 in crappy condition. If you have one that's mint, I've seen them sell for $700 or $800 a piece. Some of the really early Zippos, surpassed the $1,000 mark. I know people who've paid $1,200-1,500 for a single Zippo, for a real early model, in really good condition. Like I said, there's certainly collectible models. A lot of the real Vietnam Zippos get anywhere from, I'd say, $100 to $500 a piece. There's a lot of collectible ones out there, but for the most part, they're very affordable. And you can buy them used on eBay or other places for as little as $5, if it's used. So it's just a really cool hobby to get into. Knives, of course, are my true passion. As I mentioned before, I haven't made a lot of Zippo videos because I kind of, I don't want to say faded out of it. I still enjoy Zippos. In fact, one of my good friends online had just recommended me a Zippo online that was related to Pennsylvania, a vintage one. And I took a look at it and I decided to buy it. So I'll have a video on that when I get that in the mail. And I'll start getting back into some Zippo videos and start collecting stuff again. But I want to make this video tell you a little bit about the history of knives and Zippos together. Not only have I personally collected both, but there's a lot of people who do enjoy collecting both of these different things. But what's interesting to me, and I found this out early on, is that at one point Zippo, the company, actually purchased or bought out Case Cutlery, W.R. Case and Sons. Now what you're looking at here are 4 different knives. These are different knives from Case. I'll go over those in just a minute. But yeah, all the Case knives are actually owned by Zippo. So you may not have known that. It's actually a pretty interesting fact. And then over the years, Zippo has actually ventured into making their own knives. And let me roll in one of those right here. This is a Zippo Cutout Light. And I'm going to have a full review on this knife pretty soon. But as you can see there, it's marked Zippo, Bradford, Pennsylvania. But I'll have a full review on that. And over the years, Zippo has made quite a few different knife models, pretty much various versions of their simple models that they already had. In other words, other than Case, now you see Case here has a whole bunch of different kinds. I have a slip joint here. Here's a locking slip joint pattern, even though it's not really a slip joint because it does lock. You have a multi-blade knife here, and you have a standard lock back. But Zippo tended to stay on a very simple or simplistic design, and they just kind of, like I said, made different versions of that over the years. But yeah, a little fact for you if you didn't already know, W.R. Case and Son knives, which are one of, if not the most collected brand in the world. There's literally thousands upon thousands of different models that W.R. Case and Sons has put out over the years. They have a bunch of different slip joint patterns, and then of course they just do continuous runs of different handle materials and different versions of those. Really amazing stuff. You can always you can go over to Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Their website is www.eknifeworks.com. They always carry a very nice large selection of Case knives, and like I said, just extremely collectible. In fact, most people who collect them don't really use them. They are just pure collectors, and they have massive collections. I, however, do use mine. You see there's wear and tear. The bolsters are kind of patinaed here. The brass it's turned kind of a reddish brown. You can see there's a little bit of marking on my my bolsters on this one. I actually use these guys. I don't really just collect them. They are fantastic knives to use. But yeah, just a little bit of info for you there. Zippo does own case knives, and they're actually produced pretty close to each other. I went to the visitor center in Bradford, Pennsylvania, which is right by the Zippo manufacturing plant where they make all the Zippos. And it's really interesting. It's worth looking into the history. And speaking of Zippos, there's tons and tons of books. There's at least, I would say, at least a dozen different books on not only guides showing the values of different collectible Zippos, but also just full books on the history. And George G. Blaisdell, which is the creator and inventor of the Zippo lighter. What's actually pretty interesting is that he didn't really invent the entire lighter itself. What he actually did was he took an existing design lighter and he basically just put a hinge. George G. Blaisdell basically created the hinge for a lighter. At the time, there was this, as the story goes, there was this Hurricane brand lighter, and he was talking to someone, having a conversation with someone, and the guy took his lighter out. And at that point, these style lighters, these fluid style lighter, this one's not filled right now, but it was a very similar design to this, although it was kind of rounded. It's different from being flat like this. But basically, the guy had to put down what he had in his hand so he can use his other hand to take the lid off, okay, to use his lighter. And George kind of had a click, a little light bulb went off in his head, and he said, well, why not put a little hinge on there and make a one-handed operation lighter? Okay, and that's basically where he got his fame. That's how the Zippo was born. He didn't actually create this type of lighter with using a spark wheel and a flint and the whole deal. He basically just took an existing design and improved it, and it's been going strong ever since. It's become an American icon. The Zippo is definitely an American icon, and it's pretty cool. I live in Pennsylvania. They are all made in Bradford, Pennsylvania. Let's see, I think in 2000 they hit their 4 billion mark or something, or maybe it was million, 4 million made here in America since they started. But anyway, just pretty interesting stuff. As far as the knives here, as you see, Case does a lot of different stuff. The majority of what they do are slip joints. They're non-locking multi-blade folders, and they have a whole bunch of different patterns, from muskrat to trappers to peanuts. If you're not into slip joints, and I know a lot of this sounds kind of weird, but they make a whole bunch of different old-time frames. But here's a Boy Scout knife from Case Cutlery, and you see here this is a multi-tool knife. You have a main blade, you have little flathead screwdriver and bottle opener. You have if I can carefully take it out without cutting myself, because a lot of times when you take out your blade first and you take out these other tools that are stiff, you slip off and you cut yourself. So just be aware of that. You should be taking your blade out last. But anyway, here's a nice can opener, a curved style can opener, and the other side here we have an awl. But anyway, this is an old Boy Scout style knife, just real cool. Here's another knife from Case. This is a full-size sod buster, another slip joint, very comfortable knife. Did a full review on this, I think, in the past. Here's a copper lock, which is a copperhead style frame, but it actually has a little lock back. So another nice knife. And of course, here is their Mako, which is part of their Shark series, and this is a lock back. This was actually a contender when the Buck Model 112 came out. They started this series, and it's obviously just another version of that type of knife, a heavy-duty, hard-use lock-back knife. So anyway, there's a nice variety of stuff that Case puts out, but I kind of want to make this video to kind of explain, my passion for Zippos and knives. And like I said, it was just such a cool fact when I found out that Zippo did buy Case Cutlery, W.R. Case and Sons. It's just, I don't know, it's just a real piece of information that's nice for me, I guess. Like I said, if you're into Zippos and you do happen to collect knives as well, or you happen to be a knife guy like me and you happen to collect Zippos as well, it's a cool little fact for you. You might want to get into the W.R. Case and Son knives. Like I said, they're extremely collectible if you don't really use them. They still retain some of their value, but I tend to just use all my knives when I was younger, I just bought knives to collect. I didn't use them that often. I only use them in Boy Scouts. But these days I use them for everything. So I don't really have too many knives that I buy just to collect and not use. But anyway, this is kind of somewhat of an introduction video to this review on this Zippo knife. Which, like I said, I'll have a separate video on this. This is the Cutout Light. So, just a little informative video for you. I think in the future I might do a full history of Zippo stuff. Like I said, you know, I'll start doing some Zippo videos. It won't take over my channel. It'll still be predominantly knives and of course some gun stuff. But I know I have a lot of fans and a lot of people who watch for my Zippo videos. And in fact, some of my most popular, most viewed videos are Zippo related. They're my very simple how to change a flint, how to change a wick of Zippo videos. Basically just little tips that people didn't know or wanted to look up, and they happen to get a lot more views than any of my knife stuff or gun stuff. So, I don't know, figured I'd make some more Zippo videos for you. Hope this was enjoyable. Maybe you learned something today, which would be cool. And I thank you for watching. Take care.